In June 1863, Confederate leaders in South Carolina were stunned when Union gunboats navigated a river system they believed impossible to chart, destroying plantations, seizing supplies, and freeing over 700 enslaved people in a single night. The mastermind behind this precisely executed military operation, a 41-year-old black woman who had escaped slavery herself just 14 years earlier. Harriet Tubman wasn't just an Underground Railroad conductor, she was America's greatest Civil War spy whose intelligence network and tactical brilliance changed the course of American history. Today, I'm taking you inside the classified operations of a woman who not only defeated slavery's chains, but turned the tables to become one of the Union's most valuable military assets. What if I told you the woman who would become America's most successful spy spent her childhood being rented out at age 6 to care for other people's children? This wasn't just any childhood job. This was Araminta Ross, born in March 1822 in Maryland's Dorchester County, where the cruel institution of slavery determined her fate before she even took her first breath. Imagine being 6 years old, taken from your parents, and sent to work in strangers' homes. Young Araminta wasn't playing with dolls or learning to read. She was trapping muskrats in freezing water, scrubbing floors until her hands bled, and caring for white children who sometimes treated her worse than their pets. These early years, though brutal, became her first training ground. Moving between different households, she learned to read people quickly, to anticipate their moods, to move silently, and to observe everything, skills that would one day make her an unparalleled intelligence operative. But her path to becoming the legendary Harriet Tubman took a dramatic turn when she was just 13. While standing in a doorway, an overseer hurled a 2-pound weight at another enslaved person who had attempted to flee. The weight missed its intended target and struck Araminta's skull instead, fracturing it. Blood poured down her face as she collapsed. No doctor came, no treatment was offered. She was simply expected to recover and return to work. This traumatic injury would follow her throughout life, causing what she called sleeping spells, sudden episodes where she would lose consciousness, sometimes for minutes, sometimes for hours. Modern medical experts now believe these were symptoms of narcolepsy triggered by the brain injury. But here's where Araminta's story takes a fascinating turn. Instead of seeing these episodes as a disability, she interpreted the vivid visions she experienced during them as divine communications. What should have destroyed her became her spiritual compass, giving her a profound sense of purpose and divine protection. By 1844, Araminta had married a free black man named John Tubman and adopted a new name, Harriet. The marriage offered companionship but not freedom. 5 years later, when Harriet learned that her enslaver's death might result in her being sold to plantations further south, a virtual death sentence, she made the life-altering decision to escape alone. The moment she crossed the Pennsylvania border remains one of the most poignant in American history. As she later described it, "I had crossed the line. I was free. But there was no one to welcome me to the land of freedom. I was a stranger in a strange land." Imagine achieving the thing you've dreamed of your entire life, only to find yourself completely alone, with no idea what to do next. But Harriet Tubman didn't stay satisfied with her personal freedom for long. While most fugitives who managed to escape did everything possible to avoid returning south, Tubman made the almost unthinkable decision to go back, not once, but repeatedly. She returned to Maryland, risking capture, torture, and death to rescue her family members and others trapped in bondage. What followed was a decade of dangerous missions that transformed her from fugitive to liberator. Conducting at least 13 rescue expeditions, she personally guided approximately 70 people to freedom, including her elderly parents. Her tactical brilliance and unwavering determination earned her the biblical nickname Moses from abolitionist William Lloyd Garrison, recognizing her as a leader who delivered her people from bondage. The nickname Moses captured her role as a liberator, but it missed something crucial about Tubman's methods. While most fugitives traveled in desperate panic, Tubman's missions operated with the precision of military intelligence operations, complete with coded communications, disguises, and a network of informants that rivaled formal spy rings of her time. How does someone with a price on their head successfully infiltrate enemy territory repeatedly without a single failure? The answer lies in Tubman's remarkable tactical discipline. She primarily operated during winter months, exploiting the extended darkness to travel under nature's cover. This wasn't random timing. Tubman strategically planned departures for Saturday nights, knowing that runaway notices wouldn't appear in newspapers until Monday morning. This simple yet brilliant tactic gave her rescue parties a critical 36-hour head start before formal searches began. The constant threat of detection demanded extreme adaptability. Slaveholders kept increasing the bounty for her capture, at one point reaching $40,000, equivalent to over $1 million today. Yet Tubman remained virtually uncatchable through her masterful use of disguises. One day she might appear as a frail, elderly woman shuffling along country roads, the next as a man with deepened voice and altered gait, and sometimes as a free black person with fabricated papers. These transformations weren't just about physical appearance, but included adopting entirely different personalities and mannerisms. Communication presented another deadly challenge. Tubman developed an elaborate system of signals that functioned like military code. Songs like Go Down Moses carried hidden meanings through subtle variations in tempo, quick renditions signaling danger, slower versions indicating safety. When distance separated her group, she would mimic owl hoots to communicate across the darkness. While popular stories claim she used "follow the drinking gourd" as a directional signal, her actual methods were far more sophisticated, involving coded letters and secret messages passed through trusted individuals. The psychological dimension of Tubman's operations was perhaps most remarkable. She carried a pistol during rescues, but not primarily for defense against slave catchers. Its most crucial purpose was ensuring mission discipline. When exhaustion, fear, or second thoughts threatened to overwhelm those she led, Tubman would point her pistol and deliver her famous ultimatum: "You'll be free or die." This wasn't cruelty, but calculated necessity. A single person returning could reveal routes and put everyone at risk. In situations where crying infants might expose the group, she even administered mild sedatives to maintain silence, a difficult but life-saving measure. Behind Tubman's individual brilliance stood an extensive support network. She cultivated relationships with key allies like Thomas Garrett, a Quaker station master in Delaware who provided safe houses and essential supplies, and William Still in Philadelphia, who documented escapees and helped coordinate their northern journeys. These partnerships crossed racial boundaries and created a sophisticated underground infrastructure that could respond to changing conditions and threats. Tubman's ingenuity extended to using the very resources of enslavers against them. In some daring rescues, she borrowed horses and buggies belonging to plantation owners to speed up initial escapes. When encountering unexpected dangers along established routes, she wouldn't hesitate to temporarily reverse direction, throwing off pursuers before finding alternative paths forward. In 1862, the Union Army made an unprecedented decision that transformed the trajectory of the Civil War. They recruited someone the Confederacy had desperately tried to capture for years, a woman whose strategic mind had already outwitted America's most sophisticated slave-catching operations. When Harriet Tubman arrived at Port Royal, South Carolina that year, military officials gave her an unusual cover. She would officially serve as a nurse and cook. But beneath this ordinary facade, Tubman carried both a military pass and access to Secret Service funds for covert operations that would reshape Union intelligence gathering in the South. While Union commanders struggled with limited intelligence about Confederate positions, Tubman recognized an untapped resource. The enslaved population moved invisibly through Southern society, overhearing crucial conversations and observing troop movements without arousing suspicion. Drawing on her extensive experience in secret operations, Tubman built something revolutionary, an extensive network of black spies who gathered crucial intelligence on Confederate supply routes, troop positions, and fortification details that white Union soldiers could never access. What made Tubman so exceptionally qualified for this military intelligence work wasn't just her courage, but her methodical approach to covert operations. Her years of conducting rescue missions had taught her to identify which enslaved individuals could be trusted with dangerous assignments, how to establish secure communication channels, and most importantly, how to move information through hostile territory without detection. These skills, developed through necessity on the Underground Railroad, now became formalized military tradecraft. Tubman's network expanded as she personally recruited and trained formerly enslaved people to serve as scouts. These individuals, often dismissed as insignificant by Confederate forces, became the eyes and ears of Union military operations throughout the region. Their intelligence reports provided detailed insights into Confederate vulnerabilities that would have been impossible to obtain through conventional military reconnaissance. Colonel James Montgomery of the 2nd South Carolina Infantry quickly recognized Tubman's extraordinary strategic capabilities. Unlike many Union officers who might have dismissed the input of a black woman, Montgomery actively sought Tubman's counsel on military operations, consulting her about regional geography, local power structures, and potential Confederate weaknesses. This unusual military partnership highlighted Tubman's growing importance within Union intelligence operations. Their most ambitious collaboration began taking shape in spring 1863. Montgomery and Tubman started planning an audacious raid along South Carolina's Combahee River, a mission that would require incredibly detailed intelligence. The operation's success hinged on precise knowledge that only Tubman could provide. Exact river depths to navigate gunboats, detailed layouts of Confederate defenses, and accurate information about plantation operations along the waterway. Through her intelligence network, Tubman obtained every crucial detail needed to orchestrate what would become one of the war's most successful raids. On June 2, 1863, Tubman guided 3 Union gunboats up the Combahee River through waters Confederate forces believed impossible to navigate. The raid struck with devastating precision, destroying Confederate supply depots and plantations that had been supporting Southern war efforts for months. But the operation achieved something even more significant. It liberated over 700 enslaved people in a single night, a mass emancipation event that contemporary newspapers celebrated by referring to Tubman as the Black She-Moses for her pivotal leadership role. What few Americans realize today is that this operation made Tubman the first woman in American history to plan and lead a major military operation. The Combahee River Raid demonstrated conclusively that her contributions to the Union cause extended far beyond her earlier work freeing individuals from bondage. She had evolved into a military strategist whose intelligence network directly undermined Confederate military capabilities. Tubman's life didn't end after her military achievements. In her later years, she established the Harriet Tubman Home for the Aged in Auburn, New York, creating a sanctuary for elderly African Americans who had nowhere else to turn. This final act of service perfectly encapsulated her lifelong commitment to community liberation. Beyond her wartime contributions, Tubman became a powerful voice in the women's suffrage movement, aligning with the National Women's Suffrage Association and traveling to deliver impassioned speeches. Her unwavering belief that equality must extend to all people regardless of gender or race was revolutionary for her time. When Tubman passed away from pneumonia in 1913, she was finally given military honors at her burial in Fort Hill Cemetery, a recognition that came far too late. What's remarkable is how her tactical approaches continue to influence modern military and intelligence operations, with experts still studying her methods today. Tubman's legacy poses a challenge to all of us. Will we simply seek personal comfort, or will we, like her, return to dismantle the systems that oppress others? The most profound resistance isn't just escaping injustice, it's returning to destroy it altogether.